my name. It shouldn't have known my name. The door moved slow, deliberate, the kind of sound that drags every ounce of fear into your bones. A figure stepped into the light. Or maybe it was the light. I couldn't tell. My vision blurred. Sweat burned my eyes. The air tasted like metal and blood. It stood there still, silent. But the room wasn't still anymore. The walls felt alive, quivering with anticipation. And then, that sound. It ripped through my head like a saw. My teeth ached. My brain rattled. Emil jumped forward, fists raised, jaw tied. I convulsed, body jerking like an electric current ran through me. Sarah's scream caught in her throat, her eyes rolling white. Guards. Oh my God. I tried to cover my ears, but the noise was inside me, bouncing between bone and thought. Then silence. A voice followed, low, distorted. Human but wrong. It knew me. John. Sarah froze. Not breathing, not blinking. I wanted to shake her awake, but my body wouldn't move. The figure stepped closer. I caught the gleam of something in its hand. A sharp reflection. Gold, maybe? Then came the boom! A golden flare exploded outward. The heat hit my face like a furnace blast. I stumbled backward, hitting the wall. Light poured into my eyes, blinding, beautiful, and then nothing. When I opened my eyes again, we were somewhere else. The air was thick, mossy, wet, like breathing through fog. The walls shimmered faintly, pulsing to a rhythm I couldn't feel in my chest. Each pulse was a heartbeat, not mine, not human. Ahead, a door, still, wide, etched with glowing symbols that seemed to crawl as we watched them. We didn't belong here. Her jaw tightened. Then we make it choke. And something watched us. This place gives me the creeps, Sarah said. Every step deeper, the air pressed heavier against our skin, as if we were walking into someone's lungs. We spread out, each of us relying on instinct, and whatever psychic edge we had left after everything that's happened. That's when it started, a faint vibration through the floor, a hum that made my skull ache. I felt a pull, something calling, not out loud, not even in my head. It was deeper, older. I felt a pull, something calling. It was deeper, older, a gravity that tugged at the marrow of my bones. I stopped cold. Emil didn't. The air went thinner, like someone had unzipped the world around us. My breath hitched and then stalled. The hum underfoot swelled, not loud, but low enough to make my teeth ache. Somewhere far off, water kept dripping, steady and obscene, as if marking time for a heartbeat that wasn't ours. Sarah, wait! Emil's voice cracked through the dark. He froze mid-step, inches from invisible edge, but Sarah's scream split the silence. Help me! Her scream tore out of her and then split. One thread was raw and human, another slid behind it, warped and older, like a memory playing on a damaged tape. The two sounds didn't line up. They staggered past one another, creating a gap that smelled of rust and ozone. Sarah's foot slipped first. Then her body followed, a blur of motion and terror. She tipped forward in a way that felt slower than motion should be, as if gravity had found another rhythm and we were all slightly out of step with it. The world lengthened. A single second stretched into a dozen small deaths. Emil dove, his fingertips brushing hers. Time condensed around his reach. Fingers, hips, knuckles, the flash of skin against skin. For a heartbeat, I could see the fine hairs on Sarah's wrist. The way her nails were white at the tips, the fleck of light in her eye. She was real. Too real. "Don't let me go!" Her voice doubled again. But this time, the second strand was digital and frayed. A thin crackle of static threaded through vowels, as if something invisible was trying to translate her into a frequency if it could swallow. The static stole the edges of words, carving away consonants until one, only the raw plea remained. The fall wasn't a single motion. It was a sequence of small betrayals, a toe sliding, a calf losing purchase, muscles forgetting the command to hold on. We felt each betrayal as its own cold shock. The floor groaned below us, a structural whisper of protesting iron. Emil's fingers closed on hers. For a half-breath, the world narrowed to two hands, nails digging, skin slick, the desperate negotiation of weight. I could hear blood moving in his ears, the ragged hitch of his inhale. I heard his teeth click when he pushed. I heard the faint sound of something behind Sarah, an echoed cadence that matched the rhythm of her pulse, and then didn't. Emil said, "I've got you!" "Amelia, pull her up, help me!" Amelia's voice snapped. It was thin, sharp, with terror, the kind of small sound that reveals how much space there is for fear. Her hand slipped again, slower this time, as if it were pulled the world down, also unspooled time. The psychic strand that had overlapped her voice now threaded through the air like a second presence. A whisper that said her name and then rewound it, folding meaning back into itself. The sound bent toward the void and came back hollow. My stomach dropped. I could see the top of her curly brown hair. She was falling into nothingness. Emil lunged, catching her fingertips just before she slipped completely into the void. He looked at me, eyes wide. "I didn't see it," he said. "You weren't meant to." "Help me pull her up," he shouted, voice ragged. Emil had dropped into the ground beside him, arms stretched out, body sliding dangerously close to the edge. The air whipped around us, cold wind from nowhere, smelling of rust and rain. I hit the ground next to them, gripping Emil's arm. As he strained against gravity, Sarah's face flickered in the half-light, tears suspended in midair. "Don't let me go," she sobbed. Her voice echoed, splintering through the chamber, one real, one psychic, one already fading. The final syllable fractured like glass. The room swallowed the rest. For an instant, too quick to measure and too long to forget, I felt the loss as a physical tug at my sternum, as if something had reached in and unlatched a rib. Emil's fingers clung, fingertips grazing flesh, tendons screaming. He leaned with everything in him. Amelia jammed her heels down, her toes in, palms white with effort. Soil on or dust flaked onto our clothes like tiny funerary confetti. Then our hands slipped. The sound of those fingers was not cinematic. It was small and intimate. A soft slide. A breath's worth of friction. Paper thin tearing. It sounded like a promise undone. "Meow." Her voice flared one last time. 3 notes that weren't quite in tune, then folded into a silence that felt intentionally kept. The hum underfoot fell away like the closing of a lid. The air cleared as if nothing had been done to it at all. We stood over a shimmer, not empty, not solid, but a place where light bent wrong and memory stuck to itself like wet fabric. Emil stared into it, lips moving without producing sound. Amelia's hands clawed at the edge until her knuckles shone white. I couldn't tell if she was gone or taken. The difference in that instant felt meaningless. What remained was a hollow in the world shaped exactly like her. Time fractured into frames. And then, gasping. Amelia's fingers clawed at the edge, trembling. Emil stared into nothing, lips moving but no sound came. "She's gone," I whispered. But even as I said it, I wasn't sure if I meant gone or taken. No, she can't be gone. Sarah! Emil, calm down. I turned towards the sound, but there was nothing. Only the shadows breathing around us. That's when I realized the labyrinth wasn't built to keep people out. It was built to learn us. The silence after her fall was unbearable. It was the kind that each sound, thought, hope. None of us knew what to say. Every breath hurt. Every word felt pointless. Amelia, cold and dry, said, "We have to keep moving. The longer we stay, the more it takes from us." Emil replied, "We're not leaving her. You saw what happened." They say the void devours, but a thing that eats, digests, absorbs, it doesn't echo. And this place is full of her echoes. So maybe Sarah, maybe she just became part of the menu. And next week, to the awakening, the Psychic Odyssey, the Trappist Enigma.